for his videos.
Yeah. What's up, guys? We're here again to read some articles with my friends Chris, Jay, and Amy.
Oh, what is this? Is this the Jamie show?
Oh,
No,
God,
it's
no! God, no!
It's not always
Hey.
about you, Jay, all right?
It is always
Hey,
about Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. As in that Jamie.
Remember, all the Tracys agree that they'd rather live in the U.S. than Britain.
No, they're wrong.
Wow, that's
well,
so
actually,
good.
at the moment, I kind of agree with them.
Devon Tracy, the most important Tracy.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah, good point, Chris.
That was
But then
part of
again,
the
I kind of agree with them at the moment,
I found
not living here in Britain.
I found the song by Paul Tracy called "The Immigrant Song," and it's about
God.
how Britain is beautiful, but they all agree that living in the U.S. is better.
Yeah, it's savage to me.
Don't mind any clothes hanging in the background. I just did my laundry and I don't have a dryer, so I dry it there.
Yeah, I'm not turning my camera on.
Whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't going to, but then I decided to, just so Amy's not the only one.
Don't worry about it. You can just put it on me eating if you want. Well, you're gonna present the articles, right? Yeah.
I've been
most of the time we're gonna be looking at
migraine all day. I'm not a healthy color at all.
Not a healthy color. Chris,
And I'm about ready to fall fucking asleep at my desk.
Yeah, you didn't get a lot of sleep, did you?
No.
Jay was up he was up till 10 o'clock my time.
Whoa.
It was like 6 a.m. his time. I finally went to bed.
Yeah. But I had so much fun, though, you know.
I know. We were having
We was
fun.
on Alfie's channel, then we were on your channel.
Yeah, lots of streaming yesterday. I got 2 streams today, too.
One of these days I'm going to have a mental breakdown because Devin keeps telling everybody else he loves them except me.
Oh.
Literally everybody else.
He never tells me he loves me. Don't worry about it. We're on the same boat, Amy.
It's okay. He tells me he loves you, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, he but he tells Amy he loves me, so that's fine.
Last night or yesterday morning, I woke up to a voice note from him that said, I love Chris Fowler. I was like, wow, okay, Devin, fine.
So
I'm waking up at 2:55 a.m. to listen to you fucking talk to Sargon, and this is the message I wake up to.
Do you know what I woke up to the other day? This.
Knob.
Knob.
I did know that.
Yeah, I should play it. I need to play this too. Now that we're doing it.
Knobhead.
Where is it? Here.
I love Chris Fowler.
I love Chris Fowler. Says this so matter of factly too, just like I love Chris Fowler.
kind of sounds like Ethan in a way.
I was gonna
love Chris
say.
Fowler.
That is
Where is Ethan anyway?
Where's who?
We need to shut up.
Oh, he's not here yet.
Not here
No,
yet.
he's not here.
But when you are here, Ethan,
No, he doesn't.
shut up.
Shut
Hallowicky's here though. What's up, Hallowiki?
Hi, Wiki.
Hey, Chris.
Coming at you
Hallowiki.
with the new.
Got
I know.
Johan and Hellbound.
I had Hallowiki as an intro in my last video.
You did.
You did, yeah.
And his cat at the end doing the Nazi salute.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing, boys?
What you got for us today?
I'm about to post up the first one, and as with many of fun articles that have to do with white privilege, it has to do with the Black Panther.
Oh.
Yeah, and this one's a pretty funny one. You're gonna like this.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. I say, I guess you can see it, right? Hold on. Make sure it present to everyone. Yeah, there you go. So, white privilege at a Black Panther screening.
Oh,
So,
boy.
on Saturday, March 3rd, a group of Goucher, I don't know, students were invited to a screening of Black Panther by three on-campus clubs. UMOJA, I don't know what that is, Goucher's BSU, whatever that means. GWOCC, Goucher Women of Color Circle, and DOCC, Dancers of Color Coalition.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact these organizations exist is depressing.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's like, really? Do you need these? The movie is one of the newest Marvel movies about an African nation called Wakanda. They don't tend to say that it's fictional. That is in need for a new king after the death of their leader and the fight between the main character. Well, we don't need to read what it's about. What was meant to be an empowering event for people of color quickly turned into just another place where white students could get away with rude behavior. Students of color were left appalled and fed up with the behavior of white students who were invited as allies to people of color. I like how they say allies to people of color and then they put parentheses POC. Like, like you don't know that. That's what it means. While seating, some students of color found themselves having to sit on the floor. Oh no.
Oh,
Wow.
Personally, I wasn't upset because of the fact that I had to sit on the floor. I was more so upset with the fact that I had to sit on the floor because white students who have never shown support of DOCC, UMOJA, or GWOCC, and have actually spoken poorly of the people involved in that and everything that they are doing, took up space for those seats.
Can I just say, all I heard there was the white people got there on time and the black people got there late.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
What the fuck?
First come, first served. The white people got
that's how cinemas work, isn't it?
Yeah, that's straight up what happened. In addition to having to sit on the floor, students' belongings were moved and people refused to sit in a seat next to another person. Sophomore Zanabo Nije, a psychology major and one of the GWOCC leaders, says people were trying to save some seats and their bags was moved by a non-POC. It was a mess. I just feel like it was an intrusion of space and falsely advertised event. Oh man, the event was initiated by the leaders of DOCC who reached out to the other POC affinity groups at Goucher in hopes of collaborating with them to help students see the empowering movie. Unfortunately, there was a miscommunication about which students would be invited. So what they really didn't want white people to come at all.
Wow.
That was the miscommunication. Oh yeah, if you're white, don't come to our event. Basically how racist is that.
Not just that, it's that these black students didn't want white people at the event.
Yeah,
and they weren't told that white people would be there. How shocking.
Mm-hmm. How ridiculous is that?
Wow.
What the fuck? It's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can watch it.
Yeah.
Just always say, hey, most movies are white. No blacks allowed.
How do these people not see that they are the racist ones? How do they not understand that they're being racist? The way they're acting.
Reverse racism isn't a thing, Chris.
Yeah, it's not a thing because it's
I didn't say reverse racism.
Yeah,
I know
it's just racism.
Yeah.
As a leader of GWOCC, I would not have signed the form for this to go through if I knew what this event was.
Wow.
If they wanted it to be just a Go Share White event, they should have just went through the student engagement team, not through the affinity groups. There was also a Facebook event created by DOCC, and neither GWOCC nor UMOJA knew about the event, nor were including it in administering.
Can I just? This is black people getting offended that white people were included.
Yeah. And not just included, but also got there first and got their seats first and stuff.
Wow, white people turned up on time, or turned up beforehand so they could get a good seat. What a surprise!
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I'd say what a surprise, but the simple fact is that is what happened.
Yeah.
So, it's not like black people are naturally late for everything, but in this case, they clearly were.
Yeah.
But they are late for everything. Isn't that a stereotype?
I don't have that much experience with black people being late for stuff, but in this case, they clearly were. It's got nothing to do with fucking racism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another senior who also had to sit on the floor, Arthur Mutijima,
also late.
Studies major, says, my main concern about the screening was that it was not exclusive to students of color. Yeah, that it shouldn't have been.
What?
Yeah, that's his main problem. That was his main concern, that it should have been exclusive to students of color. How retarded is that? Racist.
It's so racist.
Yeah,
I'm my mouth's open here. You can't see, but it is. Wow.
Can you imagine, like, say I made a movie, or say somebody made a movie and it had a Hispanic hero in it, and I made an event to say, we're gonna have a screening of this movie, but I only want Hispanic people there. Black people can't show up. Black
all
people
right.
would be in an uproar, right? Black people
Take
get
it
so
even
pissed.
further, Alf. Say, me as a white guy, I made a film or whatever, and I said, yeah, I only want white people to come to the screening. We don't want blacks or Hispanics, nobody brown, just white people, please. Can you imagine
The outrage? Yeah,
oh, wow.
You get burned. Someone would set you on fire.
You'd probably get arrested in this country. Jesus Christ.
Listen to this. The message of the movie is to portray a kind of Afrofuturism in which people of African descent have been able to progress without the direct burden of colonialism and enslavement.
Oh, fuck off. You'd be nowhere without colonialism.
They do understand that that's fiction, right? While the audience for the movie is global, there is a unique experience that Black viewers undergo in sharing the moment together. Oh boy, you really shouldn't, really. In the end, what should have been an empowering moment turned into another event for white people. No, it didn't. God. You still saw the movie.
It's a film. Why can't people enjoy going to watch a film that's about fucking vibranium? It's not a real thing. It's to enjoy, for fuck's sake.
Even still, it's kind of shows something that these people can't enjoy movies that have to do with black people with people of other colors. Like, why not? Why can't you enjoy? Why can't a black person and a white person enjoy Black Panther together? Like, that doesn't make any sense. In the end, I read that part right. The leaders of each group met to discuss what they could improve for future events, and DOCC was able to express that the way this event turned out was never their intention. The groups also decided to host a post-movie discussion to discuss the movie itself and what occurred in the theater. At the end of the day, people's actions cannot be controlled, but they can be exposed. There's a major difference between allies and just white people.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
I mean, the only positive thing I can take from that is that if things continue like that event that you just described, people are going to have to. They're going to have to, like, there's going to be some sort of pushback against this sort of amount of racist rhetoric coming from people of color. There has to be some pushback at some point.
Yeah, it's going to end up happening.
Yeah, it will.
I mean, it is happening slightly, but it's happening more and more as time goes by. There's the thing about Amy has been saying about the extremities of SJW and how it creates an opposite extreme culture,
But that's just like, isn't that like a simple law of thermodynamics? Like, no, it's not thermodynamics. Which one is it? Every reaction creates an equal and opposing reaction.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
That's just fucking everything, right?
And that's happening like globally right now. Like, there's like one extreme faction pushing an ideology across and another extreme and faction coming out from that.
Newton's third law, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, Newton's third law, sorry.
All right, let's see what else I got here. Oh, the other one was really funny too. Let's get on that. It's called I Don't Care. Oh, hold on. I gotta wait for it to load. And I gotta screenshot it anyway.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for that, can we just all agree that Amy's boobs are looking incredibly magnificent?
You guys want to hear the sound it makes?
Yeah. Hear the sound. Let's hear the sound.
Yeah, okay. Before I share, go ahead. It sounds like when you're packing like a medicine ball or something.
They sound fair and luscious. Like hitting the ripe grapefruit. Magnificent.
There you go. This article.
So this one is called I Don't Care If Asians in Asia Aren't Offended by Offensive Asian Portrayals in Hollywood Movies.
Oh, God.
We got a picture of the new Wes Anderson movie, Isle of Dogs.
Is that what
it takes place in Japan. It's like
this article
of Japanese dogs. We got The Last Samurai. I forgot what this movie was with Matt Damon. I can't remember. Matt Damon and Ghost in the Shell, which I remember there was a huge outroar on that one.
I've never seen that. Is it any good?
I loved it. I went to theater to see it, and I thought it was fantastic.
We'll watch that then.
Yeah. It wasn't as good as the anime, but still a great movie on its own. If you haven't seen the anime, probably even better.
I have not. No.
Yeah. So Wes Anderson's latest film, Isle of Dogs, opens this weekend, and though it has received mostly positive reviews, some people who have seen it and even liked it are calling Anderson out for cultural appropriation and furthering stereotypes. You know how much we love cultural appropriation?
Yeah.
Isle of Dogs is an animated feature that takes place in a dystopian Japanese city called Megasaki. And while the human characters are voiced by Japanese actors speaking in their native language, the dogs are voiced by non-Japanese names, including non-Japanese names. They're not even people, they're names. Including Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Scarlett Johansson again.
Whoa.
Oh,
Sorry.
and Ed Norton speaking in English. Oh, how dare they speak in English in an American film.
But if they don't speak in English, the people going to watch the film won't be able to understand it. It's just fucking obvious.
Yeah. Plus, they're dogs. It makes sense to have them speaking a different language because I doubt that the humans in the movie understand the dogs. The point is for us to understand the dogs and not the humans in the movie.
The point is for the people in the movie theater to understand the fucking movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
fucking crazy.
Not racism, it's just language. Oh, whatever. Why am I explaining this? You all understand it.
Yeah.
You gotta get it off your chest, though.
Indeed.
It's annoying shit. That's why.
It really is. It's got rid of my headache there.
Has anyone else got anything to get off their chest? Or maybe put on their chest?
Well, actually...
I think I've got enough weight on my chest, thanks.
but now we're talking about Amy's chest again, which...
Yeah, I'd like to put things on Amy's chest instead of putting things on my...
What I'd like to know, Amy, is does the other boobs sound the same?
Are you ready? Let's see.
Yeah, go for it.
Ow!
Yeah, that sounded hard.
It sounds like you hurt yourself there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So one of the most vocal critics of Anderson's embracing of cultural stereotypes is LA Times reviewer Justin Chang, who wrote, "It's in the director's handling of the story's human factor that his sensitivity falters, and the weakness for racial stereotyping that has sometimes marred his work come to the fore. Much of the Japanese dialogue, especially Atari's, has been pared down to simple statements that non-speakers can figure out based on context and facial expression."
No, to make the film easy to understand.
Yeah,
what filmmaker would do that? What a dumb director.
Oh, here's funny.
God.
The dogs, for their part, all speak clear American English, which is ridiculous. It's not the fact that dogs are talking that's ridiculous. The ridiculous part is they speak American English.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. Do these people not understand how stupid they sound?
Yeah, I can't believe that it's not the point that the dogs are talking that's ridiculous.
Wow.
Charming and a little, which is, context is taken out if I don't read the whole thing, which is ridiculous, charming, and a little revealing. All these coy linguistic layers amount to their own form of marginalization, effectively reducing the hapless, unsuspecting people of Megasaki to foreigners in their own city.
Oh my god! Even though this entire thing started off by saying that people who actually live in these places are not offended.
No.
Just this guy's offended.
That's the whole point, is that they don't care that they're not offended.
That's what the title. That's why the title is obnoxious as fuck too.
It really is, yeah.
It's because that's the argument. Like that's the argument that came out of the Ghost in the Shell, was that there was a guy on YouTube who lives in Japan. He makes Japanese videos, and he went around asking people in Japan about it, and nobody was offended by it. They were like, "No, it's an American film. Of course they're gonna have American actors." You know, like they were like, "We make movies here and cast Japanese people in foreign people's."
I want to move to Japan. The sound will make more sensible.
Yeah, Japan don't give a shit about PC. They have no fucking interest in that shit.
Remember, there was also this like controversy. Well, not really controversy, but TYT made this video where they're like, "Oh my god, Scarlett Johansson is playing someone who should actually be an Asian chick in a movie."
I saw that. I did see that.
I was like, dude, nobody fucking cares, and she looks great. Just like die. She could easily pull it off.
What's the point? I guarantee you, Asians are going to pay to watch a fucking film with Scarlett.
Oh yeah, of course they are.
Well, on top of that, the character is a machine that's a shell created by that not to look like the original person. So, her being white doesn't make any difference. The character itself is Asian. In the
did you see that
robot body?
What was that? What was that series called that was on Netflix where the swapped bodies? What's it called?
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon. Yeah. Why was nobody complaining about that?
Yeah,
The
that's true. He
character
was an Asian guy.
He switched to a white guy's body.
Yeah,
What?
the same thing as Ghost in the Shell, but nobody complained about it.
Just
Funny enough.
crazy. I'm sure somebody's complained about it somewhere.
Yeah, probably, but not many. No, it wasn't.
I'll find the article.
Yeah, maybe. Others who made similar points include critics like Steve McFarlane of Slant, and Hornaday of the Washington Post.
Towering intellectuals all.
Black Girl Nerds, Leonardo Fireman. There's a magazine called Black Girl Nerds, and the guy writing for it is named Leonardo Fireman. Is he a black girl? And Chang's LA Time colleague Jen Yamamoto. Let's see what Jen Yamamoto had to say. Thank you, Justin C. Chang, for devoting far more attention than most critics will to many of the willfully tone-deaf ways Wes Anderson appropriates and marginalizes Japanese culture and people in his so-called homage. It is ugly indeed. Except Japanese people don't care. You do, but you're American. You're not really Japanese. Now I have not seen. Now, oh no, great! This guy hasn't even seen the movie. Now I have not seen Isle of Dogs yet, so I'm not here to weigh in on the film itself. Although, as I've blogged before, just based on the Orientalist poster and Anderson standing as probably the whitest filmmaker in Hollywood. How is that? Whatever. Whoa. I'm already suspicious. What makes him the whitest? There's other.
Say, how is he white? Spielberg or whoever.
Yeah. Weird. I don't think he's whiter than like Quentin Tarantino.
The thing is, if you're a white guy making a film about a story that takes place in Japan, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Here's the poster. It's actually a really nice poster. I like it a lot. It is reminiscent of like old 60s like Japanese film posters. Nor am I going to discuss the racist backlash folks like Chang and the racist backlash. Listen to that. Folks like Chang and Yamamoto have received online for daring to criticize an indie darling like Anderson. Sadly, I don't think anyone should be surprised by that anymore. Nope. What I'm here to address today are comments like these. Let's see. This person commented, I do not think you understand what cultural appropriation means. Please educate yourself and rewatch the trailer. Check this out. As a Japanese citizen born in Japan, I do not by any means take offense to this movie trailer. I am ashamed that you and I share the same blood.
Nice. Damn it. I should have had it ready, shouldn't I?
Yeah. That was a burn and a half. Here's one from Mimi Ghost 008.
Nice.
As an Asian in Asia, I am not offended. People are allowed to have their own interpretations. It is fun and make curious what other people think about Asia from their own perspective. Its creativity roots in its personality. There is no static view, a culture, and everyone should abide. I think they mean there's no static view of a culture that everyone should abide. I think both of these tweets had some very valid points. Mm-hmm. And they're people who are of that country and culture. And it seems like the American people are the ones who are angry, right? It's American Asians who are angry, and the people who actually live within that culture. Like, I'm Hispanic. My parents come from a different culture, but I'm mostly American. My culture is American. I have a little bit of culture that passed down from my parents from their countries, but mostly I'm American. So I'm going to assume that these people are the same. Yeah, I'm going to assume these people are the same. These are Japanese people who are probably first generation American, maybe second, and they have some of that culture, but they're mostly Americans. So they're complaining that people who are 100% engrossed in this culture aren't offended by this. That's so weird. Because every time a Hollywood movie comes out that's set in Asia and stars white people in a problematic way, examples, i.e., whitewashing, yellowface, white heroes saving the helpless Asian people, etc. There's always Asian people in Asia who have to point out that they aren't offended, and in many cases, even happy that those films exist, which leads to racist assholes using those arguments to point out that Asian Americans are wrong to be outraged, because if real American Asians aren't offended, what's the problem? That's a great point to me. That's a fantastic point to me. And I don't think those people are racist assholes. I think they're just assuming they are. So while Asian Americans decried the whitewashed casting of Scarlett Johansson in the American adaptation of Japanese manga Ghost in the Shell, I'm going to go back to this point because there's nowhere that says that the shell that the main character was in was Asian looking. It never says that in the manga. It never says that in the movie. In the anime, it's never mentioned that she's in an Asian shell. And in fact, the anime itself and the manga have multicultural characters. Like all the characters are there. There's a white guy. There's black guys in it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just all Asian people.
What you're seeing there, though, is a difference between a culture that genuinely is not racist and one is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the original was a multicultural like story. It took place in Tokyo, but it took place in a Tokyo that had many immigrants, you know, and wasn't all Japanese anymore.
I'm guessing the point is, though, with the original, it wasn't like virtue signaling about being
it wasn't.
It just was.
It just was, yeah. The guy liked the concept of a future Japan where where people immigrated and it was a center hub like New York City, you know, basically. So Japanese. Oh, let's say Johansson. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Japanese fans thought it was cool. Yeah, according to one Japanese fan, she was very cool. I loved her in the Avengers, and I wanted to see this because she was in it. If they had done a Japanese live action version, they would have probably cast some silly idol girl band member. Yeah, it's true. Nice. And Japan does that like crazy. And I know Japanese people probably a lot of them are like, they cast this person who's not really an actress to play a role that I wanted to see. You know? But yeah, that's a great point that person made. When Matt Damon heroically stepped up to save China from marauding alien invaders in the Great Wall, Asian Americans cried foul, but the Chinese praised the decision, even to go so far to point out how awesome Damon's calligraphy skills, which he learned for the movie, were. Yeah, so China didn't even care. The Chinese loved it.
The Chinese are real racist.
This is what I find funny about this. What it is these people who are American, you know, of different descent but American, they are complaining about their culture being shared. Basically, it's not appropriation, it's a sharing of culture. The people who are of that culture and live in it love that people outside of them are using their culture and are sharing the culture. You know what I'm saying? When people come to me and they say, "Oh, I love Peruvian food. Can you show me some dishes?" I love that, you know. And people want to come to me and ask me about, you know, Peruvian history and stuff like that, and are interested in Incans and stuff like that. I love that shit. And
you know what I love? I love it when white people are like, "Can you teach me how to swear in Punjabi?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah, I like that too. Yeah. When people ask me to teach them like Spanish and stuff like that, I love that. I'm awesome. That's cool. I'm down with that. And when Tom Cruise beat out all the Japanese contenders to become the last samurai, the Japanese made the film a massive hit, expressing both flattery and pride that a star of Cruise's stature would appear in a film set in Japan. Yeah, that's awesome. It's showing that that they can view their land in a global manner. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just Japanese; it can be global, and people can enjoy it throughout the world. You know. On top of that, the character in Last Samurai was meant. I don't understand why they even were trying to cast Japanese people, because it was meant to be foreigners, right? It was based in the time the Prussians came to Japan. So
is that right?
It was supposed to, and it was supposed to be a Prussian guy. I mean, the story was extremely changed. You know, it's not very accurate to the history.
I've only seen that film once. It was a while ago, but I do
it's a good movie.
Enjoying it. It was.
I've seen it. Of course, I haven't.
Of course you haven't. Yeah.
And personally, I think it made it a better movie to have a foreigner in that role, because it's kind of a story of a fish out of water kind of story. You know, a person comes as part of a group to attack these people, and then begins to live with them and love them and cherish their culture, and then defends them. You know, great story. Makes it even better that it was Tom Cruise and not some Japanese guy. And my response to all this is simple. I don't give a fuck if Asians in Asia aren't offended by offensive Asian portrayals in Hollywood movies. I support my brothers and sisters back in the motherland as much as anyone. But when it comes to this issue, their opinions don't matter. Yes, their opinions matter more than yours.
I was going to say, why does his opinion matter at all? Why is it relevant in the slightest?
Oh, you know why? Because it's his opinion. And their opinion
Well, it
don't
matters
matter
to him,
because
I
it's
guess,
and their opinion only doesn't matter because it's not his opinion. If their opinion was the same as his, he'd be pointing at their opinions to be like, look, see, they're offended too, you know. But since it's different than theirs, now he has to say, oh, I don't, their opinion don't matter, I don't care.
So basically, hang on, what you're saying is he's just being contrary for the sake of arguing, and that's it.
Yeah. I promise you, if Japanese people were pissed, if people in Japan were pissed about Ghost in the Shell casting Scarlett Johansson, he'd be putting that in an article and saying, see, people in Japan don't like it, we don't like it, you know. And he would not be saying that he doesn't care about their opinion and that it doesn't matter. You know? The only reason it doesn't matter is because it's opposite from his opinion.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
do you guys think that's right? You guys think that if Asian people in Asian countries were mad about this, that he would be using that?
I'd say that their opinion matters more than
I would say it matters more.
Douchebag in America, to be honest.
For sure. If Japanese people don't care that a movie based in Japan has a white person acting in it, then I don't think that somebody in the US really has any say in it.
No.
Yeah, they should just shut the fucking mouth and not give a shit.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah,
man.
shut your mouth. I mean, the film doesn't even, like, most of these films they're arguing don't even take place in the US. So, like, oh, here we go. Now he's going to explain why. Why? Because they grew up and live in countries where they are the majority. Yeah, and the movies take place in countries where they are the majority. Where all the people around them look like they do, because their native movies and TV shows are full of people who not only look like them, but are portrayed in all their three-dimensional glory as heroes, villains, lovers, fighters, killers, heroes, winners, losers, all types of humans experiencing the full breadth of humanity and emotions. Unlike Asian Americans, who rarely see themselves represented in Hollywood, and when they do, it's often as stereotypes or minor figures solely existing to support white leads or worse. Shit like this. And also start, here we go. So let's use this picture from a movie from like the late 1950s, early 60s to show racial stereotypes in fucking Hollywood. Yeah, movie.
Oh my god, one fucking movie.
Yeah. I wasn't, when I was born, Mickey Rooney looked old as shit. You know what I'm saying? So this movie's old, way older than I am.
Mickey Rooney, holy crap.
Yeah, like, he's not old. He's not even old there. When I was born, Mickey Rooney was old as shit.
Is he dead now? He must be.
No, I think he's still alive, but he's
Are
like,
you serious?
Yeah,
like,
but he's like,
holy crap.
Yeah, he's got to be like 98 now or something.
He's like a little turtle man now.
Last time I saw him in anything like on TV, he was super old looking, man. So he's got to be like in his 90s now. Asians in Asia didn't grow up with the same representation problems. So why would they be qualified to accurately speak on this issue? They can enjoy and even be flattered by films like Isle of Dogs and The Great Wall, because those are just blips, curiosities to them. They can think a movie where Matt Damon saves China is cool because they already have hundreds of other movies where Chinese heroes do the same thing. They already see themselves reflected in their own media every day. That's their reality. Like with white people in America, they are in a position of cultural privilege. They can afford to choose not to be offended. They can afford to choose. You can afford to choose to not be offended too. Like who's taking away that? Who's taking that away from you?
Just being offended for the sake of being offended, becoming a bit of a fucking irritating sport in the westernized world, I think.
Also, can I say, what is preventing these people from filling their lives watching Chinese movies? They don't have to watch Hollywood movies.
Japan and Korea, they've got like a thriving film industry.
Oh yeah, love it. I love Japanese and Korean movies. I watch them like crazy, and I grew up on Hong Kong martial arts films. Like, I personally went out and found stacks of VHSs of like kung fu movies and Japanese samurai movies to watch. You know, so they can do the same thing. There's nobody stopping them. They can watch all these movies where it's all Asian people and Asians are the heroes and villains and every character. There's nobody stopping them from doing this, but they just want to complain about movies from this country, you know? Let's see. Not so for Asian Americans. So for Asian Americans, you can choose to not be offended. So when a film like Isle of Dogs comes along that takes place in Japan, by the way, not in the US, comes along that could have provided better representation, it matters to us in a way that our Asian counterparts wouldn't understand.
They're even racist towards their own people. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny they act like this. Let me tell you, my parents came to this country, and I've never, ever heard any of my parents in my entire life complain that there wasn't enough Hispanic people in American television or movies. Never once heard anything like that.
I assume your parents knew they were moving to a white country when the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just obvious.
Yeah, and my parents and my dad loved the movie Scarface, and that's an Italian guy playing a Hispanic guy. You know what I'm saying? I never heard him once say, "Oh, what the fuck? Why is Al Pacino playing a Cuban? Like that doesn't make any sense." You know, like no, they never think about that. It's really ridiculous. And then me as a first generation Hispanic, I've never these thoughts never even crossed my mind until recently, where I hear all these people talking about cultural appropriation. I've never heard the term. I never thought in my life that like, oh, look at this white guy trying to act Hispanic or trying to eat Hispanic foods. And you know, the fuck, I don't give a shit. You want to wear a poncho, fucking wear a poncho. It doesn't offend me.
The point of multiculturalism, we bring all our cultures together in the melting pot and
make a great point,
harmony
Jay.
and get along.
Yep, because these are the same people who are against ethno-nationalism. These are the people who are super pro multiculturalism, but yet they don't want to share their culture. It's very strange. It's very opposite type of mentality. So with all due respect to my peeps, that's cultural appropriation, appropriating American black language. In Asia, if a Hollywood movie comes out that's set in Asia that Asian Americans have an issue with, and you feel the need to speak publicly about how you're personally not offended by it, just shut the fuck up. What? So they're not allowed. So now Asians in Asia are not allowed to speak up about movies that take place in their countries. How ridiculous is that of a notion?
Yeah, that's just mental.
Yeah, that's like if Chris made a movie and it took place in the U.S. that people in the U.S. aren't allowed to say anything about that movie. You know,
well, I mean, the simple fact of the matter, English people do make movies set in the U.S. very often.
Yeah,
and it's never an issue.
Yeah, it works the same the other way around, right? There's U.S. movies that take place in England.
These
and other
people
places
not realize they're making this distinction because of their own perceived sort of racial stereotypes.
I feel like they're bored too. They're racist and they're bored, and instead of like acknowledging their own racism, they're just fucking racist.
They're so not racist. They've come out the other side of racism, and they're racist again. It's wow. It's a good trick.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. And to all the racist trolls, which probably there probably aren't any, who use maybe there's very few, but I'm sure when he talks about racist trolls, I'm sure like 90% of the people he's talking about aren't racist. Who use those reactions from Asians who don't have a problem with the film to make a racist argument. What racist argument? That the film in question isn't racist. Fuck you too. Oh, finally, a big fuck you also to people like this Vulture critic who should know better. Let's see what they're saying. Fuck you too. This is from Vulture. What's foremost? This being un film de Wes Craven is I don't know, some French shit. Most of the panels have Anderson's familiar brand of off-center symmetry, which can seem too finicky by half in live action, but is breathtakingly right with kabuki-ish characters and the occasional split shoji proportioned screen. This guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Clue what he's talking about.
Watching overhead shots of a chef slicing and plating assorted sea creatures, it hit me. I think he's turning Japanese. I think he's turning Yes! That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Perfection too is stop motion's artificiality. You don't want fluidity, seamlessness. You want to see behavior broken down into its essential components. That's great. And then this Jen Yamato chick says, dear film critics and editors, including those of you I personally know and like, just don't. Thanks. No, that's hilarious.
People think they're so fucking edgy, don't they? Yeah, just don't. How about just shut the fuck up and fuck off?
Yeah, that's the end of that. That's
Let
funny.
the rest of us enjoy some fucking humor without. Why take offense?
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's like a recreational activity now. Being offended.
Yeah, but you get the impression, Amy, don't you think, that they're not having fun? they're genuinely
Well, they don't like it, so they need everybody to be as miserable as they are about it. You know what I mean? And also, there's also this like issue with like social media and like being able to post your opinions everywhere that makes people have the illusion that their opinion really fucking matters. You know, like it doesn't.
Yeah, I think social media has definitely expanded people's sense of self-importance, hasn't it?
Dude, what happened to the days when like you watched something, you didn't like it, you shot the shit about it with your friends for a few minutes, and then you moved on with your life? Now it's like a political issue every time. You know what I mean?
I think it's now every single time you make some sort of comment or whatever, basically it's up there for posterity for the rest of time on Twitter or whatever, isn't it? So it makes it seem like it's a more profound thing that you've just said or done, and it really isn't.
Well, it's not just that, but people try and make everything a political issue.
I think there is, I think you're right. People do try and politicize pretty much everything, and that's just a way of them trying to get their own way.
Yep,
it's pathetic.
It is pathetic.
I really like Jay's point earlier about the. Oh, what was your point again?
You like it?
I'm pulling an Amy where I lost my train of thought and like halfway through.
Whoa, guys, come on! You lot should know me by now. Just because I say something smart doesn't mean I remember what I said that was smart. So rewind the tape on this stream and
it was about multiculturalism. How these people love multiculturalism, but they don't want to share their culture. Like, and once. Once somebody tries to use their culture, they get offended, and it's like, well, aren't you for multiculturalism? Why are you offended? Like,
these guys like contradict themselves a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I must admit, but that argument can also be applied to those that say they hate multiculturalism. And I'm going to use this example. I hear a lot of the time when people speak out about Islam, they'll shit all over multiculturalism, but yet they're only shitting on Islam for good reasons, obviously. But then they'll be like, oh yeah, multiculturalism is just the cancer of the West. It's fuck the West, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hang on a sec, mate, while you eat your fucking Spanish burrito or fucking Nando's chicken or whatever. It's like, think about it, guys. Come on. Yes, there is some flaws with multiculturalism, but there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, this is a problem with this particular thing, and being like, yeah, the rest is fine.
These people's stances are constantly self-contradictory. I mean, they're real against racism, but as we're seeing, these people are actually the most racist people that are around at the moment. It's absolutely baffling to me how you can get yourself into that kind of mindset where you don't understand what it is that you're basically doing what it is that you say that you hate. It's crazy. It's
strange. You take people like us, right? We're all friends. We met online. We talk and we talk like every day, and we've become really good friends, right? Besides Jay and Chris, we all come from different places and different backgrounds, right? Like and that has no bearing on our friendship. You know, we joke around with each other about our race and stuff like that, but it never equates to the point. Well, Amy's Indian, so she wouldn't understand that. You know, like that never happened.
Friendship, I mean, it just doesn't make any difference whatsoever. The next
town
from me for all the difference it makes.
Yeah, and our races, our sex, and our orientation, and not just that, but our disabilities or non-disabilities is totally irrelevant to us all being friends and us.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I know people, especially in this fucking city where I live, where you will constantly hear, oh, I'm disabled, or oh, I'm brown, I'm a minority, or victim for this reason.
Me and Jay are obviously the bigger people because we're friends with Amy, even though she is brown.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking wow. So rude. I should get most of the credit. You're both fucking handicapped and I'm here.
Oh, she's got us there, man.
Yeah, but come on, we're all bigger people because Alf is Mexican.
Oh, good point.
That's the one thing I'm racist against. I'm Mexicans. I'm not Mexican. Right?
Well, let's just acknowledge Alf is not Mexican.
Yeah, I'm not Mexican.
I just found this picture I sent Jamie that says tinnitus trick to stop ear ringing. Do this tonight. And the guy has a baby carrot stuck in his ear.
Fucking hell. That's not gonna work.
Obviously, it's just so stupid.
I love Cameron's in the chat and he's just gone Devon shouted Jay out from his Sargon stream as total knobhead friend in Bristol. He did.
Yeah, he did. Made me laugh.
It made me fucking laugh.
But actually, it ends up being more interesting that we do come from different backgrounds because we've learned a lot about each other and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I learned so much from Chris and Jay about England. I didn't know shit, that kind of stuff.
But the reason we're friends isn't because of our skin color. It's because we relate in so many other ways, right? Aside from that.
And the fact
we connected on ideas, not on the color of our skin.
And the content of our character, yeah.
Plus, Amy has fantastic boobs.
That too.
That too.
We united in our agreement that we all want to suck on Amy's boobies, and that got us all talking. I'm joking.
Weird.
I know. No, I'm saying, I was in awe. Like,
I don't mind that. It'd be
so
a cute.
sweet.
We can make cute like mom and puppy pictures where like Amy's laying down, and all three of us are sucking on her boobies, shoving each other aside to suck on the nips. You know, it works.
Oh my god.
No, but like I said, it is interesting. Like, you know, sometimes we talk to Amy about like, you know, we'll hear her talk Punjabi or something. And we'll ask her about it, and I've talked to you guys about Peruvian foods and, you know, Incan history and stuff like that.
Spanish the other day when you was
you guys were playing. I was like, well, were you just talking Spanish? I was like, yeah.
Obviously, I knew you could speak Spanish, but I'd never. You just did, and it was very bizarre, but very cool as well. I wish I could do that.
I talk to other people who are like bilingual, and it's like growing up, I Spanish didn't click to me so fast. Like I spoke English first, and I was really bad at Spanish. And then my father made a rule in the house that I had to speak Spanish to my parents, and I wasn't allowed to speak to them. They wouldn't respond to me if I spoke English.
My parents did that too.
So growing up, it was more of a thing where I would like the way I spoke Spanish was I would think in English and then translate it into Spanish in my head. So I would talk slow because I would have to go through the process of translating it. Now, but eventually I got to the point where now I can just freely speak Spanish without even thinking about it first, you know. Just like I do with English.
Amy does that with Punjabi, and you can tell.
Just slides right out,
and then switches back to English. It's crazy.
It's fucking weird. It's weird for me now, though. Like I'm a little bit rusty because I don't speak it all the time. So there's certain things that take me a little while.
Speaking to your landlords, though, they're not speaking.
Yeah, I do speak to them in Punjabi.
That's when she gets to speak Punjabi.
But it's still not enough. Punjabi.
I love giving
Punjabi.
Jabs.
I'll jab that poon.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, it is really strange. It's odd to me to think of people who only speak one language and think of like how another language sounds to them. Like, you know, people say like, "Oh, this is what Spanish sounds like to me," and they're like, "Papa, don't look at that," you know, like, and I'm like, "What? That's not what Spanish sounds like at all," you know. So it's hard for me to understand what what Spanish would sound like.
Well, welcome to England, Alf, because it's full of the fucking, you know, nobody can speak two languages. It's very rare.
No.
Yeah. Well, Chris, that's the thing, mate. It's like I'm impressed with Amy and Alf. They can speak two languages, and then there's me here, the Englishman, who can barely speak his own fucking language, let alone trying a second one.
Amy can nearly speak 3 as well. You can speak quite a bit of French, can't you?
I can speak a little bit of French in conversation. Yeah.
Oh shit! There's fair play. I'm even more impressed, and there's me just like, nah, fuck it. You all learn English. It's fine.
Well, that's why I'm very badly and very slowly learning German now, or trying to, because just to learn another language, I don't think I'll ever need German, but we'll see.
It's good to learn other languages. It opens up parts. I feel it opens up parts of your brain, and
I like listening. I like listening to Jamie attempt to pronounce the word parentheses.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Parentheses. Parentheses. No. Parentheses.
Yeah, we'll get there one day.
We'll get there one day.
We'll work on that one, don't we?
Yeah, I've only been alive 28 years, and eventually, I'm sure.
That word anyway. Just say brackets.
Yeah, good point.
We'll have a whole stream on trying to get Jay to say the word parentheses.
Hey, we could go for a list of words that I can't fucking say properly.
Yeah, the next will be asterisk.
Asterisk, yeah.
I was thinking mare.
Mare, yeah.
Mare.
That was a great moment on Discord. We will never forget that.
Hearing the cogs turning in Jay's brain.
I know.
It was like the cogs got totally stopped.
I was like, what the fuck? You're saying the same word.
It's true, but within your own accent and dialect, you don't realize things like that until somebody points it out, you know? And then it totally destroys your brain when they do, and you're like, what? Oh, shit.
I mean, to be honest, I don't even bother trying to attempt to alter my accent or the way that I say things anymore. It just makes no difference to me. I just don't care. If I'm understandable on any level, that'll do.
You shouldn't. Dialect and accent is interesting. Like, it's interesting to see how people say the words differently, but I don't think people should change it, you know?
Oh my God. I was talking to Devin about this the other night. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but like my mom's side of the family, their Hindi, it's a very specific dialect. Like, it sounds like the fucking street people who speak Hindi, right? And for some reason, every time they speak it, their voices go high pitched. It's so strange. So my mom will be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then she'll turn to her mom and be like, Mom, konchi kata? Why? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do you do that?
Or Chinese. Yeah, Oriental people do that as well. They
like, why?
Well, I don't know why.
No, I asked my mom that. She's like, I don't know. It's just like automatic. I don't even think about it. It just happens. I'm like, that's so fucking weird.
Well, it's like when you can hear when you speak Punjabi, generally other people who are speaking it to you have sort of a more deeper intonation to their voice, but you actually try and keep it more high pitched like you actually speak.
I soften it because I think it's a really ugly language.
It's I don't know. I won't call it ugly, to be honest. Not certainly not the way
you. There's a lot more ugly languages out there than Punjabi. I think it's quite nice.
I don't know. I mean, it's nicer when the women speak it, but when the men speak it, it sounds atrocious.
That's actually another point. You also speak a bit of Hindi as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, so fucking hell. She's super multilingual, isn't she? Mm. How the fuck has no one put a ring on this woman? I do not know.
She keeps like making really, really horrible things to say in English.
Probably.
But like with Spanish, I can, like, because I've lived in an area with so many from different countries, I can tell just by a person speaking Spanish what country they're from, you know, instantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the second they start speaking Spanish, I know, oh, this person's Cuban, this person's Colombian, you know, this person's Dominican. They all, every South American and Caribbean Spanish-speaking country has their own accent and dialect.
You're completely fluent in Spanish, then?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Occasionally, I'll run by words that I don't understand because I've never spoken Spanish about certain technical things. You know, like a carburetor of a car. I don't know how to say carburetor in Spanish.
Computer.
Yeah, computer parts. I don't know how to say that. When my stepdad calls me and he do something with the computer, he doesn't speak English, and it's hard for me to translate to him like what parts he needs to move or connect, you know, because I don't know those technical terms in Spanish because I never talk those things, you know. But besides that, I'm fluent.
A lot of those words are kind of new, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. My parents don't know those words either. Actually, if I probably if I did know those words in Spanish and said it to my stepdad, he probably wouldn't know what it is either.
To be fair, my parents don't know half those words in English either. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I need to get some water. I'll be back.
Alfie, I just sent you a thing. It's like an infographic, Marvel movies budget versus box office, and it's fucking insane how much money they make versus how much they spend.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's screen share this and see what we got here.
What do we got?
Hey, what do we got? What do we got going on here? You guys can see this, right? Did I screen share properly?
I've got the link up on my screen as well.
Reddit.
Okay. So, oh shit! That shit's huge.
Right? That's insane.
The blue is how much they spent to make the movie. Red is how much they made. Yeah, it's huge. Look at the Avengers. Wow.
So the Avengers films are still kicking Black Panther's ass then? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, both Avengers films are.
The implication sort of in the media has been that Black Panther has like just blown everything out the water completely that came before it.
Oh, no way.
No,
I mean, even the only difference would be that it has a slightly smaller budget, $25 million less budget than the first Avengers movie. But the first Avengers movie made so much money, I don't think that it makes a difference. So I think it would still be bigger.
I can't say I've not seen it yet, and I'm not being racist, but I don't think Black Panther's going to be as good as Iron Man 3 was.
I will tell you, I enjoyed Black Panther very much. I thought it was a great movie, but there's still all three Captain America movies are better than it. Both Guardians of the Galaxy are better than that movie.
That movie was so good.
Or Ragnarok was better than it. I would put it on par with like maybe Doctor Strange. That's probably where I put it on par with. I like Doctor Strange a lot too. But
yeah.
About the par that I would put it in. Like I enjoyed Black Panther as much as I enjoyed.
We've had this conversation before. There aren't really any genuinely bad Marvel movies.
No, yeah, this entire list right here, I love all these movies. Not at the same level, but all these movies are great. Even the one I like the least out of all of these was still enjoyable and fun to watch.
Agreed, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is probably, you know what? I didn't like the second Avengers that much. That's probably the one I would say was the worst of all of them.
I need to rewatch that one.
But again, I still enjoyed that movie and had a lot of fun watching it.
I would say The Incredible Hulk was probably the least memorable one that I've seen.
Least memorable. Yeah, it was also the least money making, as we can see from this graphic, which is probably why they haven't made another solo Hulk movie. Possibly. I can't believe the first Captain America movie is so low.
No, that is
lower than Thor. Wow. Yeah.
When you think about Captain America and Thor are both sort of properties that didn't really have an awful lot of, a lot of interest in them before those movies came out.
None of them really. Iron Man was also known as like a B-list.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, Iron Man's right there with Ant-Man and Thor. And
I think Captain America was more known than Iron Man before any of these movies came out.
I'm actually surprised Iron Man 2's so bad. I mean, it's not a great film. It's not bad, but it's not great.
Iron Man 1 was the best.
No, Iron Man 3. Sorry. Gonna disagree.
Shit.
Yeah, a lot of people disagree with me and Chris, but yeah,
But again, it's just the ending that fucked the whole movie for me. I like that it was more about Tony Stark. That part I liked, but the ending was just so gay.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ending. And I like the...
I actually know what you mean. The ending does seem a bit tacked on, really. But for me, certainly with that film, the fact that most of it was about Tony Stark carried the film and made it completely worth it. I really enjoyed that film.
Yeah, I definitely need to watch it.
The human aspect of Tony Stark. After watching the movie with a friend, I had the conversation with my friend, and he didn't like it, and I came out of the theater loving it. And we're talking, and I was like, "Oh man, I thought it was great that the movie was about Tony Stark and not Iron Man." And he was like, "That's why I didn't like it." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, I went to the movie to see Iron Man." I was like,
I get that.
I get that, but you have to understand, Marvel became so popular in light of DC being a powerhouse in the 60s because Marvel humanized their superheroes. All the comic books were not just about Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man. It was about Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, and Peter Parker.
That's why the Captain America films work as well as they do.
Those were so good. I loved all of them.
The people, not particularly the character that is the superhero, and I really enjoy that.
One of the biggest story arcs of Iron Man in the comic books was because it was of Tony Stark being an alcoholic. That was one of the biggest. It was called Demon in a Bottle, and it was one of the biggest story arcs.
Really?
Why? Because it humanized Tony Stark so much. They showed that he had faults as well. He was a superhero, but he had faults. He became a horrible alcoholic. Yeah.
Obviously, he's not an alcoholic in the films, but
they hint at it though.
He's still very, very flawed, though, isn't he?
Is that in the second one or the third one where he gets drunk and fights War Machine at his party?
You're right.
Party. Yeah. They hint at it. And people have been clamoring for them to do that story arc as a movie for the next Iron Man. Well, they wanted it for the third one, but I think that Marvel wants to do it, but I think that they're not rushing to it. That's why I think they're putting little hints here and there. I think eventually they are. It's not set up yet, but the next wave of films they haven't announced till this wave is done.
Robert Downey Jr. was getting out.
Yeah.
He's been talking about it, but I don't know. It's been in and out. Same thing with the guy who plays Captain America, Chris Evans, has been saying that he wants out too, and then he says, "No, actually, I'm going to stay." It's been going back and forth.
I can say I don't want either of them to leave. I think they're both excellent in those roles, but
I think those are power plays. I think they come out in public and say, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to do anymore," and then they have then Marvel's like, "Oh, you know what? We'll offer you this many more $1 million for the next set of movies."
It's slightly controversial. That's why men get paid more than women for films.
Yeah, they do power plays like that. Yeah, you haven't heard Scarlett Johansson come out and say, "Oh, I'm not going to make any more Marvel films," and try to get more money.
Jennifer Lawrence actually even admitted that she didn't make as much money as one of her co-stars, her male co-stars, because he negotiated better than she did. And she actually said that and said, it was my bad. It's nothing to do with discrimination. I didn't fight hard enough for the pay that they would have given me. So
didn't we have something similar to that, like with a BBC breakfast news presenter or something?
I don't really pay any attention to the BBC, so maybe.
Yeah, this is true. Who cares about the BBC anymore, really?
I just don't watch. I don't know. I don't know any BBC breakfast presenters.
So I have another article about Wes Anderson's I Love Dogs and cultural appropriation. Should we read that too and see what?
Wes Anderson. Okay, sorry. I Love Dogs is an animated film, right?
Yeah, by Wes.
When
Anderson.
is that shit coming out?
I think it either came out Friday or it's coming out this Friday. It's coming out soon. I'm not sure.
I didn't know about that film, The Great Wall, until we had this conversation here, and I'm just getting that now because
I don't think it did very well. I remember seeing commercials for it, and I remember a few people bitching about it, but then it just disappeared, and I didn't even think about it again. That's why when I saw it, I was like, this movie with Matt Damon that I don't remember the name of.
It sounds interesting, just for because I want to see if I think that it's racist. I bet you it isn't.
It's probably not racist at all. But
Matt Damon would do a film that was racist, would he?
Yeah, no, of course not. He's super regressive too. So
really, yeah, that's what I mean.
I like him though, so I don't mind. I'm like, whatever.
Well, it's like Tom Cruise. I don't think I'd like him as an actual person to meet, but he makes some
he makes some good
he does. Yeah, I don't see why so many people rip on him.
Mel Gibson, to be perfectly honest, I mean, he's a fucking really nasty piece of work.
Anti-Semitic piece of shit, mate.
But holy shit, he makes some good movies. The
Expendables 3. I don't know if any of you have seen that. I thought he was really good in that.
Oh, no, I'm on about the stuff before he got sent away in disgrace more than any.
Before his anti-Semitic rant, basically.
Like Braveheart and the Lethal Weapon films, and
the classics.
You're talking Mel Gibson. You're not talking Tom Cruise.
And I'm talking about Mel Gibson.
You said Mel Gibson. Okay.
But like Forever Young, that's one of Mel Gibson's early films, and he's fucking excellent in that.
And movies he's made, like Apocalypto, that movie's great. You ever watch that? Apocalypto?
He's a good director. He's good at everything in the film industry. It's just a shame that he's a woman beating anti-Semite.
Yeah.
It really is a shame because he's a great talent, and it's a shame that Tom Cruise is a fucking nutball.
I watched a recent movie by Tom Cruise that was really good. It was a true story about a guy who was a pilot, and then he started transferring drugs from Colombia over, and they were like dropping him.
That was Top Gun. That was
no, no, it wasn't. But it was a really good movie. It was great. It was a true story, but it was a really well made movie.
It's very rare to find, well, for me, to my experience anyway, it's very rare to find a Tom Cruise film or a Mel Gibson film that's actually bad. That they're very good each in their own way.
So I said Jack Reacher ain't bad. I haven't seen that. I did want to see it.
That's a good film. It's very enjoyable.
I think it didn't do very well in the box office, but they did make a sequel, no? Or they were going to? I don't know. Not sure about that one. But give me 1 second. I'll be right back in 2 seconds, and then we'll
What?
He's leaving us.
You guys
entertain no worries. The Jamie show will manage to fall. Don't worry.
We can find some stuff to talk about, I guess.
It's the Jamie show takeover now. Screw Alf Benny show.
Hang on. Jay. Let's just talk about Amy's boobs for a bit.
Why?
That's the greatest conversation.
Aren't you bored of them? Oh, you guys watched the video last night?
Right, you've had them for not 30 years. You've had them for like 20 years, let's say. You're bored of them. I don't think me and Jay
I'm not bored of them.
Well, then let's talk about your boobs.
Yeah.
So,
big brown boobs. So I would put your big brown boobs.
I was only joking, but Jay's fully up for this.
Mate, you know me. I'll talk about anything.
We were last night. I was sitting with Devin and Jay, and Devin started asking me, said, "So, Amy, tell me about the status of your boobs." What did I say to him yesterday? I'm like, well, they're gonna get kind of swollen soon and be kind of tender because you know what's coming. And he's like, oh yeah.
That's it. I'm at least semi-erect now. Thanks, Amy.
Oh, Chris, you have no idea, mate. You have no idea. You're about to go fully by the time she finishes this story. Trust me.
What did I do? I just randomly sent videos yesterday. Like, first I had my shirt on and I was just like playing with them, and then I took the string off, and then I was like pulling the string up and oh my god, it was so funny.
I don't know. I think you should share those videos with the class so that I can see what you're talking about.
Well,
yeah,
you
they're
can,
already
Chris.
they're already in the classroom.
Yeah, they're in the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah. Just roll, mate. To about sort of 5:30 this morning, I would say.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. That's very helpful.
No worries,
I can just post them again too.
All right. No,
that's fine.
So
I'm going to re-click on the classroom right now, just to refresh my memory of it. There's the first one. That was what she started off with, and I turned around to Devon. I was like, Devon, mate, look at what she's doing to us, cock teasing us.
See what I could see right now. I mean, you can.
I can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Cock teasing a fuck, and then she comes. She comes in with this one, and I was like, Devon, what the hell?
This is fucking pornography.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I don't have to type
You guys
it.
talking shit about me.
Alf,
No.
I'm gonna have to go and relieve myself. It's gonna take 5 minutes.
Oh, is it about these videos I'm looking at right now?
Indeed.
Are you looking in the classroom? Are you, mate?
Oh my god.
I think me and Alf are gonna need to take a few minutes. Sort of.
Good thing I have my camera off, or you guys would see what I'm doing.
I think I'm gonna have to go for an oil change. Hang on.
No,
You know, Alfie is always jerking off.
Yeah, that's nothing. So now that I've expended my fluids, let's I want to mention that after this stream I'm gonna start another stream with Billy, so if everybody watching, if you guys want to watch that. But I wanted to put out a spoiler warning because we're going to be talking about The Walking Dead, and there'll most likely be spoilers if you watch The Walking Dead. But if you don't watch it and don't care, you can watch along with us. Well, we're probably not just going to talk about The Walking Dead. That'll probably just be at the beginning.
You'll definitely talk about subs.
I was gonna say you might mention YouTube subs.
But that'll be in about an hour.
Rant.
Say, let me
Pin those.
I'd like to pin them.
I would like to pin.
He's like, pin these.
I've downloaded copies of those. Fantastic.
Oh, I did that at 5 o'clock this morning.
That's going to keep me warm.
Jay.
Unbelievable.
They're in the FAP folder.
Right.
In the FAP folder, just weirdly named Amy.
That's all I FAP to these days. So here's an article by someone else about the same topic. Let's see if they say the same things. Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs, loving homage to Japan or cultural appropriation. Is this the same one? This isn't the same one, right? No, it looks different. Okay. As someone who has routinely criticized Hollywood's appropriation of other cultures, especially Japan's, Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs ought to yank my chain. It's a quintessentially Andersonian tale told with all the quirks and quips and symmetrical compositions we've come to expect. This time, the setting is Japan, a fictional future Japan where abandoned dogs are quarantined on an island rubbish dump. Oh, is this guy even American? He said rubbish. Ugh.
Well, no, it's The Guardian. It's English.
Oh, yeah. So this is from an English person now. So let's see what British people think of
Oh,
this.
yeah, we're getting it too, Alf. Don't worry. It's not just you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. But get this. All the dogs are voiced by well-known white American actors speaking English. These are Japanese dogs. Why are they speaking English?
Do you honestly, do these people honestly think that Japanese dogs think in a Japanese accent in their doggy way?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the solution. Have them speak Japanese and see how much money the fucking movie company makes.
That's what somebody's got to do. Somebody's got to come out with a big Hollywood movie and just cast foreign actors speaking their languages and see what happens.
That's exactly the point, though. The movie companies already know going in that if they did that, they wouldn't make as much money. And they're all about making money because, you know, company.
Yeah.
That's what companies do.
And that's the main reason why these people are writing articles and not making movies. Because if they did, they'd fail hard. Let's see. Why are they speaking English? Is English dog language here? What? The Japanese. Yeah,
Dude, what?
Dog, oh God.
Would you rather them just walk around and go?
The thing is, did they honestly think that in Japan they wouldn't fucking dub it in Japanese? Of course they fucking would. Well, maybe they will. Maybe the Japanese just speak English, but they could do, or they could French or German or whatever. It doesn't have to be English. It's just the language the film was made in, you morons.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I explaining this?
Just get it off your chest, don't worry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. The Japanese human characters do speak English. I mean Japanese, and are voiced by Japanese actors, but there are no subtitles. See, what I haven't seen this movie, but what that says to me is the dogs don't understand the humans, and the humans don't understand the dogs.
That's the point.
Which makes no sense. That's why they don't subtitle the Japanese actors, because if you subtitle them, you're understanding what they're saying.
How can
in the dog's perspective?
How can a supposedly educated person, which this person writing this wants us to believe that they are with the language that they're using, how can they not understand such a basic part of filmmaking? How can they not get this? It baffles me.
Good night, Johan.
Night, Johan.
Where was I? Do speak? Yeah, I'm thinking the point of the movie is you're in the dog's perspective, so not understanding the humans makes sense, you know. So since it's a movie for an American audience, you're not going to understand the Japanese speaking.
I don't know. I just don't get how they write these articles. Don't they read this shit and like edit them and read them over again and think?
Oh, yeah, it's all virtue.
It's so stupid.
The fact is, Amy, what they're writing is what they mean to write. They actually think this.
Yeah.
So when they read it back, they're like, "Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's exactly what I wanted to say." Which is crazy.
What's more, there's an American exchange student in the story with freckles and a huge bob of white hair, voiced by Greta Gerwig in English. She turns out to be something of a white savior who mobilizes the passive Japanese populace to rebel and put things right. We can't have that. Can't have people from other cultures come into a culture and help them. Which, you know, in the end, Japanese people don't care.
all that's demonstrating is that historically, white people have done a lot of the kind of savior work. So,
yeah,
what's wrong with that?
They don't like reality, I guess. And in the end, as we read from the other article, Japanese people like it. They have a good reception to this film. So. Another alarm bell. Anderson's Alternative Japan also ticks off a great many tourist cliches. There is sushi, sumo wrestlers, cherry blossoms, taiko drummers. Well, there's an explosion at one point. It's a mushroom cloud, a reminder that Japan suffered a nuclear attack from a filmmaker from the country that attacked them. Really?
Japan have tons of shows with mushroom cloud things and those kinds of explosions. That's literally in all of their anime where they have these explosions that are fucking massive.
It's not that at all. Every explosion produces a fucking mushroom cloud.
Well, yeah, also.
It's just that nuclear bombs produce a really big one and you can see it from a long way away.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How retarded do you have to be?
May I also mention that sushi, sumo wrestlers, cherry blossoms, and taiko drummers aren't tourist cliches. They're Japanese cultural like things. Yeah. Japanese people literally go out every spring and watch the cherry blossoms fall. It's a national holiday. It's not a tourist thing. They eat sushi every day. You know, they watch sumo wrestlers wrestle. It's their national sport, you know. taiko drummers as well. They love taiko drummers.
That'd be like saying that
these aren't touristy things. These are actual parts of their culture.
So again,
like saying that British tourism is based on tea and football
and fish and chips.
That's the writer of this article being racist.
Yes, yeah, it's being racist, and even pointing out things that are not racist and trying to say they're racist. Like, so if I made a movie that took place in Japan, I'm not allowed to show sushi and sumo wrestlers and cherry blossoms falling. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? You obviously, if you're making a movie that takes place in a different country than yours, you want to capture that country, you know, and their habits and the events that happen there and stuff.
Fucking despair for humanity, really.
Yeah.
I really do.
What makes it even worse is it's a Guardian article, so it's our fault.
It's our fault. No, it's not your fault.
It absolutely is not our fault. What the fuck has the Guardian got to do with you or me? Nothing.
So, all right, and what to make of the fact that its cast includes an alumni of famous Asian whitewashing scandals past? Oh no, now he's blaming the actors that are in it. Tilda Swinton, aka the race-lifted ancient one from Marvel's an American-made character, by the way, a character made by a Jew. Scarlett Johansson, recently of the whitewashed Hollywood remake of anime classic Ghost in the Shell. I already said what I thought about that. And Bill Murray, Johansson's co-star in Lost in Translation, a movie that found comedy in Japanese people being shorter than Westerners and less able to pronounce their R's. That's not. Funny. It is funny, but that's not what that movie about. It's in the name, Lost in Translation. It's about foreign people living in Japan and what they go through. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think I've seen that film.
No, it's a great movie. It's really good. You should check it out.
That's my list as well. Thank
you. It's about two people who don't know each other meeting in Japan, you know, and then they're both Americans and they meet in Japan because they're both there for different reasons.
already have that film. So
it's a good movie. And just to rub our noses in it, there's a cameo from There's a cameo from Fisher Stevens, the American who browned up to play an Indian character in Short Circuit. Who gives a shit? Anderson has a track record in this kind of cultural Pinterestism. I don't even Pinterestism. Is that like somebody turning the word, like the internet website Pinterest, into a word? Pinterest?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh my god,
that's
can I say that that's super gay?
Yep.
It has backfired before. In his 2007 Indian Odyssey, The Darjeeling Limited, which is a good movie, by the way, India is merely the mood board. The story focuses on three privileged American brothers. One of those was Jason Schwartzman, who co-wrote both Darjeeling and Dogs with Anderson, along with Roman Coppola. In one misjudged scene, the funeral of an Indian boy they failed to save from drowning serves as a moment of healing between the brothers. Well, I don't understand what's wrong with that. They stroll through the picturesque grief in an extended slow-mo tracking shot backed by the Kinks. Then the poor kid's family are forgotten and the narrative rolls on. Yeah, because they're done with that scene.
Stories work.
Yeah. What?
Need explaining.
Yeah, I don't get what his issue with that is. It doesn't make any sense. That's the point of the story.
Worst parts of the movie that are totally irrelevant to the fucking story every single time and trying to make an issue out of it. This is the same theme in video games and everything that doesn't matter about playing or watching the actual whatever it is supposed to be. Like the shit that nobody gives a fuck about, they're trying to make a thing about.
It's actually more for their cause, because the point is these three privileged American brothers go to India and they see the fucked upness that's going on in India, you know, and it brings them back down to earth, you know, as when they thought they were living a life where things were good, you know what I'm saying? And they see how horrible things are in other places. So it kind of goes with their perspective, but they got to see it as something bad. Some critics are barking appropriation on Twitter and online, but where Ghost in the Shell and Doctor Strange, and there are many more, took a Japanese story and cut and pasted in white people, Doctor Strange is not a Japanese story. Here Anderson engages with Japanese culture and references on an almost scholarly level, while the cast is filled with Japanese names, from Ken Watanabe, which is a fantastic actor, and Yojiro Noda, who I don't know, lead singer of Red Wimps, to Yoko Ono. Isle of Dogs is a movie that seems custom made to set off appropriation dog whistles, but for all its questionable moves, the result is a story that's one of a kind. If we police boundaries too strictly, we're stifling the possibility of cross-fertilization and invention. If you do it well enough, it's not appropriation, it's conversation. So in the end, I guess he's saying the movie's good, though, so He doesn't care. I don't get it.
So
Why
basically, that was pointless.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
the
say,
whole
what's
article is
the point of
pointless. Because in the end, he's like, "Oh yeah, but it's fine because it's a good movie and it's done well." And he captured some of the Japanese well, so Japanese culture. So I don't get it.
Of that article
Yeah, what was
was
the point? So that's almost that is an admission that I'm just complaining to complain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Complain about in
Exactly.
an admittedly good film just because I want to complain because I don't.
I'd like to say also, watch Wes Anderson movies. They're all good. He has not made one bad movie. All great films. Ask Marino. Me and Marino share that in common. That we're both Wes Anderson fans.
Yeah, but what does Marino know, really?
Yeah, he knows race car.
Joking, Marino.
Joking, Marino. Please don't kill me.
Marino, he can take a joke.
He's fucking. He'll have mob connections, Amy. He could get me fucking whacked.
Yeah. You're gonna find Chris dead, like asphyxiated by tons of.
I'm gonna wake up with a horse's head on my pillow or something, aren't I?
You're gonna wake up in a pool of tomato sauce, is what you're gonna wake up.
Yeah, drowned in tomato sauce and spaghetti.
Somebody touch my spaghetti.
And meatballs up your rectum.
Oh my god, that sounds awful.
Spaghetti stuffed up my bum.
Up your bum.
Up my bum.
Is there any more articles?
I think so. But yeah, people are really going nuts with this multiculturalism shit.
They are and they're not though. They want to seem like they're for it, but they're not for it. So basically multiculturalism to them clearly means anyone else can take from white culture, but white people can't take from anybody else's culture.
Exactly.
So it's all like an anti-white movement is what it is.
What baffles me is how do people not understand that is racist?
Yeah.
No idea.
It's like you can't be racist against white people. That's odd. Because that's not what the word racist means.
The way that they have justified it, I know it's not what racism means, and I think everybody knows that, but the way that they've justified it is because white people have committed atrocities in the past for which nobody now is responsible for, but they have made it so that they can just be hateful as retaliation to that previous racism.
I agree that nobody's responsible for them now, but I would also say that nobody's affected by them now either, or not many people. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't think anybody is, honestly.
No, neither do I, but I'm just, put that caveat in because I'm sure there's some like 170-year-old woman somewhere who's still feeling salty about
Yeah,
her.
but we're not really talking about her, are we? We're just talking about the general.
It's dumb. It's retarded, and of course you can be racist against white people. And apparently people take advantage of that fact very regularly now.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the secret is out. It's all fucking
I think people using the privilege plus power thing are people who just want to justify their racism.
I think the worst,
racist, but they have a cognitive dissonance with it, so they have to find a way to justify it.
White people are rolling over and fucking letting this happen.
I was just gonna say that.
Oh yeah.
White people, like for this movement who accept this kind of behavior are like the religious apologists. Like they act as shields for this behavior to continue. Just as religious apologists act as shields for all the extremists of their religion to continue committing those acts because they can hide behind that shield of, we're facing this or we're facing that or we're the good ones or whatever. Like it's just.
I think the problem is that so many white people generally have become so progressive that they're actually willing to take responsibility for things that they did not do personally. Yeah. And that's absolutely mental.
But it's definitely not progressive to think like that.
Well, I wouldn't have said so, no. But it's like what Jay said about, the Guardian, this is our fault. It's like, no, I don't take responsibility for a publication that's happening in this country now. It's nothing to do with me. Fuck off associating me with that shit.
Mm-hmm. I like the color of Alfie's phone. It's really nice.
Oh, yeah. That's just a...
Was it a case?
That's the case, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's silver.
Hang on.
$16, 11 bucks, $88.
That's what I got.
Oh, you guys kind of have the same color. That ring is the best thing. I can't wait to get my phone.
So good. Anyway, look at my beautiful.
So for my dog walks, I'm owed $153 so far. Not bad.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a few more coming. I'm covering her because she's going on vacation for a little bit, so I'm going to be doing a few. And you'll be paid up to April 9th. So April 9th is
That's a very cute dog you're looking after, by the way.
Yeah, I love her. I love that dog. She's a little old and she got this little grumpy face and her teeth are like it's so cute. Every time I come, she what she does is she sits at the window all day. So when I'm walking up to the house, she sees me and her head picks up and she looks at me and she starts going, she runs to the door when I come in. And then she runs to the door to see me when I come in, but when I open the door, she runs back to the couch, lays down, and lifts a leg up, like for me to pet her in the belly and shit. It's funny. And then once I put her leash on her, she starts running to the door, like, all right, let's go. Very cute dog.
Amy's on repeat.
I leave this here now and I just like fuck around with it every time we're on stream, because I'm rude.
We've noticed.
Because I'm rude.
No, it's quite relaxing actually. It's
it's nice. I like it.
It's really hard for it to sound bad, isn't it? Like it has a
plus
very
it's
nice.
not very harsh sound, so it sits in the background quite nicely.
Good. Well, I mean, I'm sure if it annoyed you, you fuckers would tell me. So
Yeah, I'd just mute you.
can't mute me. You just won't even be able to fucking hear me then.
Oh yeah, so to everybody watching, if you ever have articles you want us to read, just
yeah, guys. Oh my
tweet
god,
them
that's a
at
great idea.
yeah, tweet them at me and we'll find which ones we want to do and we'll read them out and you can hear our thoughts on it.
Bring some articles for the next one of these.
Yeah, you guys too.
I've got
Mm-hmm.
a little something I want to share with you guys right now. So I've
Hi,
just
Jamie, in the chat. I love
Hi
you too, Jamie.
Jamie.
No.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey.
yeah, another
So yeah, there's so many Jamies around here. It's crazy.
Two.
It's a right Jamie show takeover, isn't it?
Not just one more than one. Two.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So in Britain, we have an organisation run by the government called Prevent.
Mm-hmm.
And Prevent is an organisation where if you believe that you have seen extremist material or you believe someone might be leaning that way and so on, you report them to the government, to this organisation rather, and then they do what they do to try and prevent terrorist activity from happening.
Sounds really
They don't necessarily, it's not particular of what type of extremism, because obviously they deal with it all.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know why it was set up in the first place, because of a large number of Islamic terrorism in this country. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is I've just been asked to find the number and find the information, but yet I Google Prevent and everything at the top of Google is let's talk about Prevent, racist, reality check, Prevent. I'm just like, where's the number? How do you actually use the service when everything on the first page of Google is literally shitting all over this actual beneficial system? Oh, I found it. No, that's statistics.
You want to call them to interview them or something?
No, a friend of mine is asking me for their number.
Oh, okay.
Well, to file a thingy, basically. Fuck's sake. I've got it now, but Jesus.
I think Amy should make an album.
With that, yes, she should.
Just a recording of this, just so that I can listen to it while I'm falling asleep.
Call it Big Brown Fun Bags.
Yeah, big brown fun bag.
I was thinking of learning the Devin's grandfather or father did a lullaby for him, and I was thinking of learning that part. The kalimba part.
Oh, was it Paul Tracy? Paul Tracy's uncle, no?
Yeah, I was listening to some of Paul Tracy's stuff
Yeah.
today.
I don't remember if it was his dad or his grandfather that did
think
the kalimba lullaby. Was it his uncle?
I think Paul is his uncle. No, I think Hugh is his dad, no? Or is Hugh his grandfather and Paul is his dad? I don't know.
Hugh is his grandfather. Paul is his father.
Oh, you're right. You are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them did a lullaby for him, so.
I was looking up Paltry. Thinking he's got beautiful songs, man.
Yeah, their videos are very sweet, actually.
I really love his guitar
Note
work. Oh, what'd you say, Chris? I'm sorry, I couldn't
Did
hear
she
you.
actually manage to hit a duff note with that thing then?
A deaf note?
A duff note.
A duff note? What does that mean?
A note that is duff incorrect.
I'm hitting a wrong note? Is that what I'm doing?
I see what you're saying.
Sounded like it was all started and
Oh, it's because I just hit it really hard because I think I need to tune this key.
Yeah, you probably need to tune. Yeah, after playing it for a while, you need to tune it every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really nice.
Right? Have you found what you were looking for, Jamie?
No.
Is it because you're retarded?
No.
I'd have heard of even remotely what you were talking about. I'd look myself, but I couldn't even understand the words, so I can't look.
Gina's here. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Gina.
Gina Wienerless.
Hi, Gina. Who's Gina?
You follow her on Twitter. You gotta find her. She's really awesome.
Yeah, she's a nice lady.
She's a nice lady.
Like Marino says.
Yeah.
Now we're just sitting here listening to it.
It's actually beautiful, though.
Yeah, it's nice. That's all right. I got like 20 minutes to kill anyway. Till I start my stream with Billy.
Oh yeah, cool. Whenever you gotta go,
I
you
found my
want.
number. Sorry, I found it. I'm well happy.
Good.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
So,
I figure I'll probably
ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the United Kingdom, and if you ever feel that someone is got terrorist leanings and is being groomed, or is, you know, a terrorist or whatever, do call Prevent.
That's two very different things. If they've got terrorist leanings or they're being groomed.
Yeah, it's for anything. If you think someone is,
So for any crime, you know what the police are for?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm kind of confused.
Prevent is ran through the police.
Oh,
it's
you
a special
said
number.
Prevent.
Yeah, Prevent.
Oh, I thought you were saying vent. That's what chicken shit out of, isn't it?
Oh my god.
You made me lose the number. Yeah, here it is. Right. So if you feel that someone is a terrorist, you can call the hotline on 0800 789 789 321. There you go. We've all learned something new today.
Marino said, "Somebody tell me when Aiden stops playing so I can."
Oh, do you want me to stop? I'm sorry.
No, that's just what Marino is saying.
Fuck Marino. Keep playing.
Yeah, fuck Marino.
I like how Cameron's just said, "I'm grooming him." Ring Prevent, Chris.
Yeah, I hang on, Jay. Can I have that number again?
Yes, 0800 789 321.
789. I'm on it now, Cameron. Don't worry.
It makes a really pleasant sound.
It does.
Like I'm not even following any kind of anything that just sounds pretty. Check the dislikes. Fuck you, Marino. Hey, what place did McLaren get in the race? Yeah, that's what I thought.
It would have been fast.
He
I
said,
try to get to my phone in time, but I'm always late.
He said,
It's okay, we understand, Jamie.
Yeah,
I like how it has the laugh too.
Yeah, I like that it has a
Cute.
laugh at the end.
Gotta
I
have
just
the
said
laugh.
check the dislikes, but I only have one. And I'm
Easy,
sure
when
Yeah,
you do it, it's also
it's
you
Marino.
got the laugh on the end.
oh, it's Marino.
Pardon?
When you do it, it's also got the laugh on the end because you laugh after it.
I do. I can't help it. It always
Yeah.
makes me laugh. It always makes me laugh, that sound. Because it reminds me of so many things. Like, I remember we were my god, how did that start? It was Devin was like sitting with us in Discord, and we were all like hanging out, and I was like, I said something, and he was like,
"Wasn't it when you were
say that
talking
again?"
to what's her face? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when it started, wasn't it? And then the video came out or whatever. But she had said something about Billy Bong, and I was like, Billy Bong's boring. And then he's like, Amy, what'd you say? I'm like, Billy Bong's boring. He's like, bam, 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 bam. I said something about someone else too. Sarah, maybe Aaron. I don't remember. He was like playing that thing over everything. So
Yeah.
yo, the guy TJ's back. What's up?
What's up, DJ?
DJ.
Yeah, we're just sort of chilling out now.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Jay's
Jay's
Jay's just pressing random buttons on his phone, but me, Alfie, are chilling out.
Yeah, listening to Amy play her thing.
I try not to fall asleep, to be honest with you.
Oh shit! Now Jay thinks we're boring.
I bet it's a kalimba that's putting him to sleep.
Honestly, Alf, when I started this live stream, I had a fucking awful headache that I hadn't gone. I just had it all day. It's been grateful and it's gone completely now.
That's good.
You said you took ibuprofen, right?
Oh, I've taken about fucking 12 today.
Oh dear.
I'm actually worried about my organs failing, but
Well,
So
let's think positively, because that'll help.
I think if my organs were going to fail, they would have done by now.
Yeah.
So the latest thing in New York City, I think it happened either yesterday or today or earlier today. The police shot an unarmed black man, as the article states.
Oh.
But people are bitching about it, of course, as they always do. But the thing is, the guy had a metal pipe.
Oh, I read about this.
Yeah, and the call that the police got was that a man was swinging around a silver-plated gun. Like, they were saying, oh, it looks like a silverish kind of gun.
Mm-hmm.
So when they went to confront the guy, he had this pipe in his hand. They said he took the two-leg gun stance, when you spread your legs forward and point forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stance he took, so they shot him. And
I assume that they tried to say, put the weapon down, put your hands up, all the usual stuff. And I bet you he fucking didn't. So fuck him.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you don't want people who don't have guns to get shot, but you have to see things from the perspective of somebody who's at the heat of the moment. It's not easy to be a cop. It's not easy to confront someone you think has a deadly weapon that can kill you at any second.
I feel like people don't
you
take
have to make split-second decisions, and it's not easy.
People totally fucking forget the whole human survival instinct. That if there's something that is a direct threat to your life, you don't have time to think about it. You have to make a move. So either you're saving your life or it's their life. And I'm pretty sure I'll always take the side of the cop when it comes to saving the life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if in the case of it where he just had a pipe and not a gun, so the cop's life wasn't really in danger. Well, they didn't fucking know that.
Yeah, they don't know that. You're in the heat of the moment in a job where you're likely to be killed at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going there with the report being that he had a gun. You know what I'm saying? That was the call they got, was that there's a guy waving around a silver gun, most likely because people saw it from a distance and couldn't tell it was a pipe. They just tell it's silver and gun shaped.
The States stop fucking with the cops. It's it's not rocket science.
He had no arms, yet he had a hand. Hands coming out of his shoulders. But yeah, this happens a lot, and these people try to blame it. This is where the issue with when you look at stats without explanation, and you see the stat for unarmed people being shot, people don't go into what unarmed means. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at each individual case, because unarmed could mean he reached for a gun. He reached, he wasn't armed because it wasn't on his person, but he could have been reaching for it.
Yeah, if there was a gun on a table, he wasn't armed, but he was reaching for it.
The police shoot someone who's choking someone to death. That person is considered unarmed. That goes into the unarmed stat. But that person will take that person's life if they didn't shoot him. You know, he's choking someone to death. You have like a second to stop that person from choking them. You know?
Especially in places like New York, but pretty much everywhere in the States, the police get a fucking terrible rap for doing, you know, a really, really dangerous, scary job for not much money.
Yeah.
And all they get for it, you know, publicly anyway, is fucking hate. And
yeah,
very annoying. And I don't even
there's parts of the U.S. that's so scary that cops don't go in there. You know what I'm saying? That they don't want to go in there. That if they see a crime going on, they just keep driving because they're like, it's not.
They got families and shit too. Like, do people not understand that part? Like, how can you ever be on the side of a criminal? I just don't understand that. Or someone who's like against the cops or who is like not complying with the cops. Like, man, these people barely get paid enough to do what they're doing anyways and to take the risks that they are.
And then there's situations like where that does happen, you know, but you know, we try to do our best to arrest those cops, you know, who do the wrong thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that one guy that was shot while he was running away and the cop shot him in the back. That guy went to jail, you know.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that cop got arrested for that. He did do the wrong thing. It was the judges saw it was the wrong thing and they arrested him.
Well, this is it. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but you quite often see when the police in America do something wrong, and it's proven that they did something wrong, they get fucking punished for it. Obviously,
yeah.
Majority of the time, they're not doing anything wrong.
It's like people don't want to see. People just don't want to see it from the side of the cops. Cops can't be perfect. They're human beings like everybody else. They're gonna make mistakes. You know, they're gonna confuse things. You're in the heat of the moment. You're gonna confuse a stick for a gun or something. You know, they bitched about that kid who got shot with a toy gun or something. But
oh my god,
you know that how can you tell the difference from like 30 feet away if a gun is real or not? You know?
Yeah, and he was
took
also
the orange tip off. So
they're like, wow, he was like fucking 12 years old. Yeah, that kid was tall for a 12-year-old kid. He did not look 12. And like, you're not thinking about the person's age if you see that it looks like they're brandishing a weapon.
I was going to say, if they're holding a gun, I would have thought the actual age of the person holding the gun is not really going through the cop's mind.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You know, if they're like, you know, 5.5, 6 foot tall.
I remember when that happened, a lot of people were pointing to like, you know, trying to say this only happens with black kids, and they were pointing to articles where the same thing happened with white kids and they didn't get shot. But that's bullshit. That's nitpicking, because I specifically remember, as a fan of Nintendo, when the Wii was out, some kid who was a Boy Scout opened the cops came to his door because of it was an incorrect, like, false call that there was a shooting going on in the house, and it was something. It was the wrong house or something. But they came to the door, knocked on the door, and this kid answered the door, and he's a white kid, and he had a Wii controller in his hand, and they thought it was a gun and shot the kid and killed him.
Wow.
So it does happen to white kids too. It's not just a black thing. It's not a race thing. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know the exact statistic, but I know Devon's mentioned a few times that many more white people get shot by cops than black people, numerically. Maybe not per capita.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, not per capita, it's about double the amount of white people are killed.
But
unarmed white people.
Nobody's up in arms about that. Nobody cares about that. They only care if it's a black person who gets shot.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that.
So it's like I guess the issue is because I guess it's a race issue. I guess those people are racist. They don't care if it happens to white people. They only care if it happens to black people. Which was one of my major complaints of Black Lives Matter. They're arguing for the stop of police brutality for black people only. Like, why not for everyone? Latinos, you know, it happens to Latinos, to white people, to Asians.
Especially when cops kill more white people than black people.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they'd want them to stop shooting everybody.
What's funny is they'll probably point to per capita on that moment. Oh yeah, but that's only per capita. But then when you want to talk about crime and who does the most crime, you know, then they don't want to see it by per capita, and they're like, no, white people have more crimes. You know?
These people are kings of cherry picking. They really
exactly. It's super cherry picked.
Super cherry picked.
Super cherry picked.
Fucking retards.
How you doing for time, Alfie? You want some time to chill before you got to start? Okay. Cool.
Anything you guys want to talk about for 5 minutes?
No.
How about that stream yesterday, man?
Which one?
Which
The
one?
big vegan stream we did.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
so sad that I was getting so tired on that stream because it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a lot
It
of
was
fun.
really fun. Yeah, I liked all the people who came in.
These fucking
That
crazy
girl was
people.
really nice.
Yeah, she was
Wait,
nice. Really.
yeah.
But she
But
was
she
talking
really
shit.
is all about veganism. Like
Yeah,
I remember I sent her a message after and I was like, hey, thanks for coming on. It was nice to talk to you. She's like, I breathe veganism. So anytime anybody says anything to me about it, I just have to, any chance to talk about it, I'll talk about it. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of the problem. That's kind of the problem,
yeah.
vegans, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
hashtag not all, obviously.
yeah, but that's what they're all about. She
dude,
was kinda
Tristan
talking
getting
shit
mad.
on the AI Discord too. So
Tristan getting mad at Isaac and just like straight up talking shit about Ask Yourself.
That was
was
funny.
so
yeah. He was really mad about it. I'll talk shit about him, but I'm not that angry about it. Like I
The
think
more I
it's
talk
funny.
with Tristan, the more I like the guy. I think he's just fun.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that he was actually on that server, him and Kelly, and then Ask Yourself had some shit to say about Kelly because Kelly was like, yeah, the AIU people are actually just way nicer than you guys. And he got all butthurt about that. And then some shit probably went down from that. So
he got mad that she said that he was acting like a dick, which he was.
which it was, yeah.
Yeah, because right after that, he was talking shit on his Discord, and she said, no, they didn't ban you because of that. They kicked you because you were acting like a dick. And he was like, oh, I have the screen caps of it, but he was like, oh, how dare you call me a dick in my own server, which, is incorrect because she didn't say he is a dick. She said you were acting like a dick, which is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm
but
just
yeah,
gonna
he got
say
mad and he
that-
banned her for that. And everybody was like, oh, she's on the AIU side, like all the people. And he was like, that's a bannable offense. Whatever.
And they just like, it doesn't matter how many examples you give them, they don't accept that they're just so enamored by this ideology. Like it is an ideology, the way they behave.
Yeah,
It should be a lifestyle. I mean, it, like when you think about it, it is actually just a lifestyle choice to be a vegan. But the way that these people behave about it is so idealistic. I mean, ideological, not idealistic.
Grant is having pizza. Who wants to guess what's on it? He says, guess what is on it? I'm going to say pepperoni because that's the most common thing to eat on pizza.
Did you guys just see what I put in the
God,
glass, bro?
Jamie.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It's real. It's there.
That's on.
Or an entire condom underwear? What the fuck?
Is that off our Discord, Jay?
It's on the AIU Discord. Rowan just,
Devin does blood sex.
yeah, that's what Rowan has just put there.
Where has he put that?
For Devon channel.
Oh. Now we're just being really obnoxious. We're talking about something else that the chat can't see.
They can go and look on the AIU Discord if they want.
They can. You're quite right, Jay. Of course, you'll have to Patreon the Devon Tracy, but you should do that anyway.
Oh, damn it. It's a shame that we're not on the fake podcast right now because I'll dump in the screen, that image of Patreon Devon like I was doing last night on there. Oh, you two missed that because you weren't there for it, were you?
I wasn't there for it.
So
But I did see you. I did see it on Discord when you were showing the picture you were going to show. I just wasn't watching the stream anymore at that point.
So basically, if you have a wrench, you can put a link in the chat on, obviously on any live stream. But with the fake podcast, when you put a link in the chat on their channel and you have a wrench, it shows up on screen the image.
Nice.
So Devon I was like, whoa, Devon's here and you haven't wrenched him. What's that? So I called David out for not wrenching Devon straight away. He got wrenched, and then Devon what was the first one he put in? I think he put in like a square image, and it had 4 things in each corner, so they were lined up for the 4 of us. One by me was Knob. I can't remember what it was for Amy. Whore, yeah. I can't remember David's, but I remember James's, and that was Lee Harvey Oswell. It got better. So
And then he
After that-
started going on about Lee Harvey
no,
Oswald.
he put tits in there with Amy's avatar face on.
Yeah.
That's when he lost his wrench.
Yeah.
So I'm there on WhatsApp and then Discord DMing Devon saying, send me the link. And then I'm then posting them in on the live stream, just constantly the one of Patreon AIU.
Did they get mad about that, or you think they got mad?
I think
Well, he
got a little bit
unwrenched
mad.
Devon.
Yeah.
But you know what was really funny is that, like, before that happened, Devon was like, I live in a world where Sarah Hasher has a wrench and I don't. So he got the wrench, right? And then after he took Devon's wrench away, he also took Sarah Hasher's wrench away.
Yeah,
No.
that is true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. It was funny.
Was that the story about Wax? I heard she lost a wrench. But
Yeah, I
nobody-
thought maybe it was because she banned Braggy.
No, she didn't do anything, no.
And speaking of which, I just banned Praggy from your chat as well.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
know, I saw that.
Red Guy brought up this point. He says American police were polled on whether they would shoot a white or black if forced to choose. Most said they would rather shoot a white because then their family wouldn't receive blowback.
It's true.
It's true, and I've heard that it's. I don't know the numbers, but it was more likely that a cop would shoot a white person than a black person. That there was like an actual stat for that of who's more likely to get shot, even per capita.
Wow.
In decision making, obviously, because black people commit more crimes, they end up getting shot more per capita. But in their decision making process, it takes a lot more for them. I've even seen video clips and instances where a cop didn't shoot a black person because of the same reason. They didn't want the blowback, and their own police station told them to think twice about shooting black people because the station itself didn't want blowback, and bad press. So there was a cop who was killed because of that, because he didn't pull out his gun at all, like during a struggle with the guy. I think the guy like stabbed him or something.
I was
Yeah,
thinking, I was
that's
wondering
pretty
why
ridiculous.
Amy's thing wasn't making noise anymore, and I thought, oh, that's her phone. I get it.
You thought she was still holding the kalimba?
I just tweeted you guys a picture of a cat that's dressed in that has like Indian gear on. It's so funny.
Really? Let me see this.
Seems
Sounds
like
cute.
a very important thing.
It is important.
It is very. No, I wasn't being sarcastic.
Oh no, no one wants a blowback. They're disgusting. No snowballing for me. Thank you very much. I
What
never
is a
want that.
blowback?
A blowback.
Well, it depends. If it's the thing I'm thinking of, then you don't want it.
A blowback.
Is it when you?
It was like where you get a joint, you put it the opposite way around in your mouth, so the lit ends in your mouth, and you blow down it
Oh,
into
yeah, I remember
somebody
that.
else's mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
We used
what?
to call those.
Oh, no,
we used to
it
call
gets
those-
you really fucked.
Yeah, we used to call
That-
those shotties.
All right.
Yeah, doing a shotty.
But if the joint falls apart inside in your mouth and the sort of the lit cherry sort of lands on your tongue, that fucking hurts. That's what
yeah.
me before.
I was gonna say is a blowback when you give a girl anal, and then when you're done and come in there, and then she farts and it blows back at you.
That would also that sounds really
Actually, I was thinking more when she goes down on you, she's giving you a blowjob, and then instead of swallowing or spitting, she then kisses you and
Oh, that's a snowball.
that's a snowball.
Mhm.
Have you not seen Clerks?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Why do they
I've
call
seen
him?
the first
Exactly
one.
why I know that, Alf. That's exactly why.
Yeah. Why do they call him Snowball? The other thing that was funny from Kevin Smith was finger cuffs. You remember that? That was
Oh,
from
yeah.
Chasing Amy. That was from Chasing Amy that you were saying the other day. You wanted to
I
watch
haven't
again.
seen that in a long time either.
It was
Actually,
like,
I've
who
seen
that girl? I remember that girl. We used to call her finger cuffs.
We should absolutely
Oh
watch
my
some
God.
good films because I've not seen them for ages.
Why did they call her finger? Why did they call her finger cuffs? Oh, because we had her from both sides, like a pair of Chinese finger cuffs.
Did you ever see Clerks 2? I've never. I've
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, it's a good movie too. We should watch that one day.
Yeah, I want to watch
It's a good
that.
one. We got to set up more movie days because we got to catch up on Marvel stuff for Amy.
Yeah.
This is the most patient cat in the world.
Yeah, that
It really
cat
is.
Dylan. He's a little fat. That might be why.
Unless it's photoshopped, but
All right,
let's
but
not
I'm
ruin the illusion.
I'm gonna end this stream because I'm gonna start another stream
Yeah.
in like about 7 minutes. So
Do it.
All right.
we can chit chat a little bit on
Thanks for
Discord.
having us, Alf.
I'm gonna go
No
masturbate
problem.
on that video
I
of
love
him.
having you guys on. Anytime we could do this anytime.
Always
Again, Again, people in the audience, send me articles, tweet me, or any of us tweet us articles so we can compile them, and we'll do these more often.
Yeah, we'll hang out and read them
stay
together.
tuned for Billy to come on Alf Benny Raw in a few minutes.
We'll see you there for that. See you in the chat.
Guys, bye.
Bye.